All right, so we're going to start with the global reversal. And either you're going to tap above and below your lips, or you're going to tap in the sort of high heart butterfly hug, and you're going to tap back and forth with your fingers at the base of your collarbones. Okay, and then we're going to repeat, and repeat it aloud if you're in a position to be able to do that. With all my faults, weaknesses, and limitations, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. With all my faults, weaknesses, and limitations, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. With all my faults, weaknesses, and limitations, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Nice deep breath here. And then let it go. With your eyes closed, you can check in and see what subtle shifts that you notice inside in your muscles and your nervous system, your connective tissue, your posture, your organs, your heart rate.
All I do is just doing the positive part of it.
Yeah, I'm going, yeah. So with all my gifts, strengths, and ability to heal, our ability to love, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. With all my gifts, strengths, and ability to love, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. With all my gifts, strengths, and ability to love, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I do. All right, and then take another nice deep breath. Hold it for a sec, and then just drop it out. Take a moment, check in with yourself. We're developing a lot of body awareness, which gives us a lot more information about what's going on with us. It really helps us improve our relationship with ourselves. The more attention we pay to the sensations in our body and within. So seeing what you notice, the global reversal really helps to shift from a negative focus or a really worried, like no matter where I look, I'm worried or I'm upset or I'm fearful or negative somehow. All I can see is the problem, to being really balanced, right? And it frees us up. It tends to have an effect that makes us feel lighter and actually feel more positive. It's like, okay, all right, I can orient myself towards where I move, not just in resistance. You know, that all that negativity is a lot of resistance. So it's another way of thinking of it is it's releasing resistance. Okay. I've found that I really enjoy doing I mean, I do, but I think it's really helpful to go through the belly button breathing correction for everybody. So this is where we clump our fingers up in the belly button. And then you make a C clamp with your thumb and your middle finger, tapping on the bottom of your collarbones and that K27 point, which is just outside of the sternum, and tapping there. When you're standing up, you could check your knees, make sure they're not locked here. You know, one way to think about doing these exercises every time is that it's helping us to strengthen our groundedness and our centeredness and our own, like, being in our own truth. And I have probably said this before here, but when our knees are locked, we become a pushover, quite literally. And so there's a direct correlation between really being able to stand in a strong pose, like a sort of a mountain pose, but a really strong stance compared to locking our knees. And women, 95% of the women who come into my office lock their knees. You can switch when we first start doing this. And as women, this is a time of empowerment for women. It's a time of us coming into our own power, into our own voice. It's a time of becoming more effective, but more able, because of differing circumstances as well, to create more of the world that we want for ourselves, whatever we consider that to be. So we are becoming more empowered. It is a time that is going to require courage. I have absolutely no doubt about it. Then you tap above and below your lips. And so these exercises are helping us to be more grounded, helping us to stand in our power, helping us to be more resilient emotionally, and to some degree, helping us to build our immunity, strengthen our immunity, and strengthen our immunity to fear. Okay, switch. So people probably have their eyes closed, but I just was kind of wiggling my body around and from my neck. So I felt a lot of relaxation. So I think some people are shifting and coming much more into themselves right now. And then again, the next spot is at the base of the tailbone. Everybody knows now. And just rubbing up and down the base of the tailbone. One of the things that you might notice, I'm noticing it right now, is kind of going in and out of sudden increases in temperature, in your body temperature. Like my body temperature just all of a sudden heated up. And then switch. And for me, when I'm working, that is always representing somebody doing some healing at some level. And the person doing the healing doesn't necessarily heat up, but I do. So, and if you do, sometimes know that that's what's happening. Sometimes people get a little discomforted by it. Okay, all right, let's stop and take a nice deep breath. All right, good. Now we're going to go to the one that is so grounding, so wonderfully grounding. And you put your middle finger in your belly button. Other middle finger goes above and between your eyebrows. You're going to push in, lift up the skin of your forehead, lift up your belly button, drop your shoulders, check your knees, close your eyes, and breathe. Just notice. Many people become aware of the bottoms of their feet because this is so grounding. It's linking back up the two meridians that run through the central part of the body. All the rest of the meridians are on the sides, but this is really about being grounded and balanced and centered. Good. All right, now we're going to switch. I find that oftentimes I only need to do one side of it with people. So you're pushing in, you're lifting up, pulling up, dropping your shoulders, checking your knees and tuning in. But when I'm with a group, I do it on both sides. And it occurs to me that one side might feel much more calming than the other side. And if you notice that, I would go back and do the side that feels the more calming and more grounding. So I'm experimenting here. And what I just noticed for the first time is in doing it the way I ordinarily don't do it, that there's a sensation of an elongation. I feel like I'm being elongated, a little bit like I'm being stretched, and my posture is straightening, and that actually, that in that position, it's possible for more energy to move down through the central light axis within me. So there's that information, and do with it what you will, and practice this however it feels most comfortable to you. Okay? All right, so then we're going to go through and we're going to do the quick version of the cross crawl, which is just pulling that energy from your shoulder to the opposite, off the opposite hip with your hand. And then you switch, you do it at least three times on one side and do the same number of times on the other. Okay, and that gets the energies to cross, gets the left and right side of the brain functioning, working together more. It's kind of energizing. So helps our brain kind of wake up a little bit more too. All right, so we did that one. I'm going to do what we did this one last week too, but the yin flow, and that's the one where we trace the heart. And I will try and remember to describe every piece of this. But this is the one, the energy in the front of the body is known as the yin flow. So it represents our receptivity, our openness. It represents vulnerability. It represents our meeting, our willingness and openness to meet the world. So there's a lot of feminine, it's really feminine quality, whereas the back with a strong backbone is more masculine principle energy, that resilient, that resolute kind of really standing my ground. So what we're doing is helping to balance out some of that. People have talked about fear. I also think that the loneliness, the piece about loneliness or being alone or holed up or the lack of physical touch, that I think that this probably helps with that. I mean, just that increase of feminine energy is really supportive of us. So in one way, it occurs to me, the more that we can bring ourselves into our more feminine space when aloneness is the issue, then we actually might feel more supported, more nurtured by ourselves. So I guess I could make an argument about reasons why to be more masculine, but the openness, the touching, the connecting, like representing doing this with yourself. So we start and we trace a heart. We start in the middle of the sternum, and you come up to your high heart with your fingers, and you trace a heart shape from that point up around, and you come down the sides of your ribs, and then you end parallel with the lowest part of your ribs. Okay, wherever your ribs are, mine go down pretty low, and so for me, I'm ending down here, which is like this much below the last bone in my sternum. Right. Sometimes people go down and they come back up, and that's not really the heart shape. I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but so we do this 3 times. You've probably all done it 3 times because I've certainly talked enough for you to do it that much or more. Okay, so we've done that. And now you're going to take your hands and you're going to brush them down. So we brushed energy across our body. Now we're going to brush the energy down our bodies and off our toes. So we go all the way down
Brush it off our toes. And then we're going to hang and ragdoll. All right, so we're hanging in ragdoll, dropping your neck, making sure your neck is loose. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then grabbing your elbows and taking another nice deep breath. And just allowing, you might even roll around your back a little bit. Just a little bit, and allow, bounce just a little bit. So just, this is really helping to open up the back, right? Open up the spaces in the vertebrae, or between the vertebrae, and relax all the tension that we carry in our back. Okay, now drop your hands, and then tucking your chin into your chest, you're going to do that Celtic weave or the infinity symbol with your hands, right? So your hands start out on the outside, they come in together, cross over, and they flip, and it forms an 8, right? That figure 8 or the infinity symbol. And we slowly curl ourselves back up, keeping your chin tucked. A nice, deep stretch of the spinal cord, which really helps that cerebral spinal fluid to really begin moving, so it nourishes and cleanses the whole nervous system from the brain down to the sacrum. And you bring your hands down to the side, okay? And then the second correction that we do with this, and this one, so I have no idea how much each one of you know these things, and I'm quite aware that I'm repeating things that I often say, but I've heard me say it a whole lot more than anybody else here. So hopefully it's helpful for you to hear these things. Helps give more of a sense about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and to remember what it is. So this is smoothing around the ears. You're taking pads of your fingers, and if you're doing it energetically, you can just kind of quickly sort of sweep your fingers around your ears and off your upper chest. And if you keep doing it, you're very likely to notice some tingling in your upper chest, your neck, your arms. So there's that ting, and even your back maybe, there's a releasing of energy. So there's movement. Anytime you start feeling tingling, doing any of this, it's like energy's beginning to move. Stuck energy's beginning to move. So this is the triple warmer meridian. It's the guardian. It's the one that is so central right now to what we're doing. When it's on, when it's activated, we're in the sympathetic, right? The overdrive, the over energy, it's hard for me to go to sleep at night. Like I'm always on, like I can't really rest. I can't really tune out the rest of the world. It's hard for me to focus just here because, I'm thinking about so many different things. It's hard for me to settle. Like a lot of those are experiences from being over energized. And as I've been saying, we're all hypervigilant. Even if we don't feel particularly scared, or particularly scared all the time, we're still hypervigilant. We're paying attention to doorknobs. We're paying attention to, walking. How close are we to people in the store or outside, or just all kinds of engagements, all kinds of things that we're now having to pay attention to that we never did. So our nervous system is like what's doing that, right? So all of this has triggered the nervous systems to a more hyper state. And in that more hyper state, even if we're doing a really good job of balancing ourselves, it's really important to know that it's still quite likely that our nervous system is heightened, and to treat it that way so that we can continually work to help ourselves get back to the parasympathetic. So doing this is sedating. It's sedating the triple warmer meridian. It's quieting it down,
quieting it down is an equivalent to going into the parasympathetic, where we rest. And we need to rest. We need to rest deeply for many different reasons. All right, so if we're going to do this as a massage, we put the pads of our fingers at the base of our temples, and we're going to do a massage around our ears. So you kind of push against your ears, so you're stimulating those ears and the nerves around the ears a little bit, and you pull your fingers down off the skull, and then down, if you pull down from the back of the skull, and your fingers then catch the trapezius, and you pull down that, and however you can do it. I've got everything in the way, but you pull your fingers out across the shoulder muscles or the trapezius, and then grab your shoulders. Take a stand here, check your knees, because they like to lock up here. Take a nice deep breath here. And then lock your fingertips in and pull them forward. So you do this cross massage over those trapezius muscles all the way to the collarbone, and shake that collarbone out, or shake the collarbone out, shake your arms out, okay? And then if you want, you can do that another time, do it a second time. And remember, that is sedating, it's calming, it's quieting. So, and it's real, it's really easy to do this. Just even doing this 3 times, like just doing this 3 times activates you. It takes 30 seconds or less. Doing this 3 times really helps to calm you. So you could be active and energized, but in a calm, centered way if you combine those 2. That makes sense, okay? All right, so we've got those. I'm thinking about the yang, the strong backbone. And we haven't done this one here. When people are in the office, I do it on them. And basically what I do is I hold my hands on the upper parts of their back and do energy work. But I can't do that. You could stand there and feel that. You could actually, that would be really interesting. Any of you who have had me do that, I've done that with, time travel yourself back, remembering when I've done that with you, and see if you can feel that again. Just see if you can feel my hands on your shoulders. And I usually start up at the top by the neck. And in fact, as I'm saying this, I'm just gonna add some distance Reiki. So just keep breathing and seeing what you notice. Oftentimes there are lots of micro shifts, micro adjustments that the body does here. And then I go down your shoulders a little bit further on the back. And then I go out to right over the shoulder blades and the arms. And I hold my hands there. And then I come back and I drop down a little bit lower down the spine. My hands are right along the spine, on either side of the spine. And I move my hands out again, sort of the middle of that middle part of the back. Good. And now what I often do, I don't know if you can feel this, you can maybe see like I'm pinching my fingers together, like sort of pinching the energy field all around your back. It's just sort of loosening up, freeing up, playing. It's kind of playing with the energy in your back. And then with my hands, I do a sweep. So, and I do it, you know, sort of very lightly on your skin, and I come up the back to the shoulders, over the shoulders, and then drop down the arms. Right? So that kind of playing, that kind of pulling, easing, energizing, activating, kind of the energy around fluffing it in a way. And then with my hands, washing up the back, trying to gather the whole back, all that energy in the back, up and over the shoulders just a bit. And then I just drop down the arms and off the wrists. Okay? So stand inside, check, take a nice deep breath. See what you notice there. That's the first time that I've actually, in something like this, have done distance Reiki. So that's kind of a fun thing for me to expand myself into. I would love to hear from anybody who noticed something through that. That would be wonderful feedback. I mean, it's all, whatever you have to say about what happens during this group is wonderful feedback for me. And the more that I can improve the quality of it, the quality and what I'm doing, so that people really are benefiting, and that more, I want to be able to help more people benefit for a number of reasons. So feedback of any kind, as long as it's kind, it can be real and difficult, but just be kind, which I know everybody here would be. But I'm very sincere when I say I really appreciate that. All right, so we've done that, we've done that, we've done that. So let's come and sit down. And the rest of these we can do sitting down again. Let me get my glasses. All right. All right, so I'm going to have us stand back up again. I just was thinking about that. So right now what we're going to do is the third polarization or non-polarization correction. And that is, you know, you've clasped your hands together. Some of you might know which thumb is on top without clasping. And you unclasp your hands, and then you take whatever, the leg of whatever thumb was on top, and you put that on the opposite knee. So for me, my left ankle goes up on my right knee. My right hand comes on my left ankle. My left hand comes over and it touches the instep of my foot. And this is, you know, we talk about this being the sole of our foot, right? So these are minor chakra points, and they also create a circuit, an energetic circuit through our body. And I love the feeling of hooking up that circuit. So in this position, we do the waterfall breath, which of course everybody knows. It's a deep breath in through your nose, and you hold it for a sec or two, and then you drop it out through your mouth. So we're going to do it 5 times on each side. Okay, so you breathe in, hold it, and then release. So as you notice, you can go ahead and take another breath. As you notice, I'm taking a very deep breath in, and I'm holding it. And when I drop it out, I'm pushing all of it out. I'm completely releasing all the breath in my lungs. Okay, so it's very deep, full, activating, and also cleansing breath. And then I drop it, my body drops. If you can see me, you notice that as I exhale, my whole upper body relaxes, okay? So you might be on the third, so let's say this is the fourth breath in, and then drop it. Again, in and out. One way to get the breath completely out after your mouth isn't making any more sound is to push in or constrict your stomach muscles. And that actually pushes more air out of your lungs that won't come out on their own. So you need those stomach muscles to get that last little bit of breath out, which is great. I mean, that's old, spent, stale energy breath. It's got no oxygen. It's got carbon dioxide in it. We don't need it inside, right? So use those stomach muscles to push that last little bit out. All right, so now let's switch. So most of you are going to be putting your left ankle up. I did that wrong. Most of you are going to be putting your right ankle up now. I did the exact opposite. That's funny. All right, so got the position. Your hand is on your right hand is on your ankle. Your left hand's crossed over, unless you're the few of you who are doing this on the right side. So nice deep breath in. Hold it, drop it out, and push those stomach muscles. And feel how that pushes out the rest of the breath. So again, and drop it out. Again. Again. Exhale. Push the rest out. And one more time. And I'm noticing I'm becoming much more relaxed doing this. So I think that's probably happening for some people out there. Bring your leg down. Put your hands in front of you in prayer position. Pull them apart like a pyramid. Your thumbs go above and between your eyebrows. You're going to push in and you pull your thumbs apart, doing a cross massage over the lower part of your forehead at your eyebrows. And then your thumbs travel through the temples. Remember that if there's got a bunch of anxiety, that the temples are often hot and pretty sore. Push your thumbs against your ears and then just kind of push against those ears with your thumbs, your hands, and your fingers, keeping the middle fingers connected. Slide around to the back, and then the thumbs push the ears forward and slide down. You slide down all the way off the skull. And then the thumbs, the tip of the thumbs now can be used to kind of dig under the skull. Nice, good massage here. There's often a lot of tension held here. Push against the center when they meet in the middle. And then bring your hands up and around, and we do it one more time. So they go above and between your eyebrows. You push, taking nice, deep, easy, releasing breaths as you go through this. All the way through the temples, to the ears, nudging the ears down and then forward. And then this nice, lovely slide down the back of your skull and your ear crease to the base of your skull, and dig those thumbs in.
all the way around their muscles, all kinds of small muscles here. Push your thumbs in at the occipitus or the nape of your neck. Bring your hands up around to the heart center. Nice deep breath here. All right, check in with yourself. See what you're noticing so far in our journey to become more balanced and centered and lighter, and brighter and more peaceful tonight. Notice where you're feeling more relaxed, where there might still be some tension. We've done this global reversal to get all our energies flowing in the right direction. And then we followed it by work to make sure that each of our the energy was moving in the right direction. It wasn't blocked, and it was moving in each of the right directions in the 3 directions, from top to bottom and from front to back and side to side. We did the grounding exercise to help us feel nice and connected to Mother Earth. I didn't use any of that language, but that's really a very essential, almost, I would say, part of that, or something that happens, through that exercise, is that we do really open up the bottoms of our feet and connect with Mother Earth and all the living energies, which is very sustaining. And speaking of boosting our immune system, again, that's another very powerful natural practice. You can go outside, you can have grounding things, grounding, earthing mats around your computers really help. You can get earthing mats for your bed that actually, they have these copper wires that go down into the grounding outlets, and they actually ground down into the earth, because that's what those outlets do. You can also stand barefoot out on the earth and do that for about 10 minutes a day. That is a hugely powerful thing to do. There's around here a very well-known story of someone named Warren Grossman, that many people maybe know or have heard of, who healed himself from being on the verge of dying from getting some parasites in South America. And he started laying on the ground just like a little bit a day, and then started increasing it, and he brought himself back to full health. And that was the thing that he did to do it. So it was really pretty miraculous. So there is, what I want to say, miraculousness around us. There's power and spirit all around us and within us. And the key is knowing ways to access it, knowing ways to, if you will, reduce our resistance, reduce our sense of being separate, right? Being contained within the walls of the skin. Being just in a 3-dimensional body. Like, we are so very much more than that. And the world that we live in is so very much more than that. And the more we open ourselves up to that, we can receive more of the healing and nourishing and nurturing qualities that are here for us. And at this time, boosting that kind of strength and resilience is really important. I don't think I can overstate how important that is. Okay, all right. So I'm going to do one more, and so we're not going to stand back up. But this one is, we may have done this like the second time I did energy exercises, I think, but I can't remember if we did it. I know I thought to do it. And it's a kind of breathing, it's a yoga breathing. People refer to it as the fire breath. And with the fire breath, you are breathing in, it's a rapid breathing. You're breathing in deeply, and the in-breath, like the out breath, you push the breath out and it automatically causes us to breathe in.
So the in-breath becomes, it follows from the out-breath. And it's a rapid breathing. What we do is to take a deep breath in and then let that breath out. I'll show you what this looks like. And then I breathe in halfway, fill my lungs up halfway. Okay, and then I start doing this fire breath, and it's like this. You can do it through your mouth. I'm doing it through my mouth. You can also do it through your nose. I think I'm going to do it through my nose. So doing it through my nose, it looks like this. Now what I'm doing to have that happen is I'm pushing, I'm using all my abdominal muscles to push the breath out. I'm pushing it out, and then it automatically fills back up again, right? If you're not used to doing this, you may feel like you run out of air because you're not used to kind of how to balance it. So just stop and take a breath, get yourself centered again, and start doing it again. Also, depending on what's going on up here, it may cause you to cough a little bit, but it is really good for the lungs, right? So, you know, our lungs can use a lot of support right now. And anything that's good for the lungs like this is really strengthening. Right? So it's really building some strength in our energy system and our body and our lungs. So, okay, so again, nice deep breath in, drop it out, breathe halfway back in again, and start this breathing through your nose. And just release the breath. Nice deep breathing. Feel all the energy. You might really be able to feel your heartbeat after doing that. You might feel a lot of energy moving. Might feel it just in your torso, might feel it all the way into your arms, might feel it in your back, your head. You might feel it in your whole body, and you actually, at this point, might be able to feel. So I invite you to try this, even if this is not something you're familiar with, to try and feel yourself as your energy field. Feel the way you don't stop at your skin. So you can feel into your field and into the layers of your field. Just try and let yourself feel this field. Feel you as your energy body. And as you're feeling you in your energy form, bring your awareness to your energy below, like the bottoms of your feet and below. And as you breathe in, feel yourself breathe your breath up through the back of your body. Even if you're sitting down, like it's coming up through your feet,
and up through the back energetically, not just in your body, of course. Coming along the back of your legs, around your pelvis, up your back. So actually you're breathing, you're doing this much faster than I'm able to speak it. You're breathing all the way up. You can feel that energy come all the way up to the top of your head. When it gets to the top of your head, then it just cascades down the front of you, all the way down the front, through the pelvis, down the over the thighs, the cascading again down the knees, down your legs, and out through the bottoms of your feet. Let's do that a few times. So we're breathing in that Mother Earth energy. Breathing it up the back, so we're really activating and strengthening this flow from top to bottom, and then dropping it down the front, releasing through the front, breathing up through the back, and releasing through the front. And feeling, however you can feel this circulating of what I call the manifest energies, the energies of Mother Earth, the living energies from the earth, from the, and everything that grows on her. Everything gives off energy. Everything has an energetic field. And we can open ourselves up to the awareness that we are moving through with every step we take, even if we don't take a step, because the earth is moving and there are subtle winds always, that these earth energies are always moving through us. We are the earth. Our bodies are the earth, and we're composed of all the elements of the earth. So we, like the earth, have a physical body, which is amazing, right? Our physical bodies are incredible. The Mother Earth and the way that the earth provides everything for us is just a miracle. It's a mystery, it's a miracle. It's wondrous, it's scientifically wondrous, just as we are. And then for a few breaths, let's bring our attention to the energies above us. The unmanifest energy of heaven, of the divine. Not that the earth isn't divine, but we often think of spirit guides or angels or God or the universe, all that is. And opening ourselves up at that crown chakra, letting that energy flow down through us. And it enters in, and it enters in and it begins to flow down, mingling with the energies of the earth. And these energies now dance within us and deposit spent energy at the feet and gather up the earth energy, going up to the top of the head, releasing some spent light, divine energy, gathering, bringing into us more of that unmanifest spirit. Feeling ourselves as the point where these energies meet. the point where they can dance through our breath. These energies, these life-giving energies dance. Their own dance of connection, of union, of communion within us and around us. All right. So mark in your memory where you are now, how you're feeling now. And we're going to move into some tapping. Okay. Promise I'll get this right here soon. And scoot forward. All right. All right. So we're going to start. Remember, we start with our hands on, in the sore spots. So crossed against the upper part of our chest, rubbing in an outward direction, both of them, or the fingers of both hands. So even though there is all this disruption in my life from this disruption in the world, right? Whatever is going on in my personal life is one layer, of disruption. Or we might say it's one layer of opportunity for us to heal, right? Whatever is coming up, I'm really feeling this very strongly, that whatever is coming up now because of this hypervigilance and we're more aware, means we're more aware of what's coming up. And it is a profound opportunity to heal, both personally, and it is a profound opportunity to strengthen our own field in, and not just in a I'm locked away, and or not at all like I'm locked away and protected against everybody else out there, but a strong field, a strong, grounded, connected field where I'm moving through and I'm able to maintain this strong field. And when I choose, and as much as I choose, I'm able to be love, right? No matter what's going on out there. I walk through the world in my own life, choosing how it is I want to show up. And I build my capacity to be in the world in that way, whatever that is for me. I use being love because that's what it is for me. It's kind of what I focus on. Others can focus on different qualities like that, right? But that's what we're doing. So there are things coming up in your personal lives. And then there are also things that are coming up, with everything that's going on. And as somebody said to me today, most of us are in our own lives have we've kind of come to terms to some degree with our life right now. There are things that don't feel good about it, whether it's that feeling of aloneness or hold up or derailed. Somebody had used a word earlier today about feeling derailed from their life trajectory, right? And I know that's true for some of you here too, that feeling of being derailed. Not everybody, but so there are those kinds of things that are affecting us still, even though we've kind of developed our own pattern. And many of us might not be so afraid of getting sick anymore. I don't know where each of you are. Some of you are probably still very worried about that. And some of you maybe aren't so much. And yet there are fears about what is happening. What is life going to be like? How long are we going to have to wear masks? How long is this social distancing? How much freedom are we giving up? People are now considering more some of the issues, around things like freedoms and vaccines, and, how do you promote the health or protect and support the health of the most number of people? And if that's really your goal, what does that look like? Does it only look like making sure there's a vaccine so people can take masks off? Or do we also consider the possibility of how do we boost our own immune system? How do we strengthen ourselves? How do we trust maybe that we're much safer than we feel? That feeling, that thought that I'm much safer than I feel sometimes is so soothing. So we've been rubbing, I've been talking, trying to bring a number of the kinds of things coming up. People are talking about feeling angry and feeling fed up, right? We're done with it. It's getting draining, it's getting tiring, it's getting challenging, confusing, right? And lonely. And of course, there are all kinds of positive things coming for so many people as well. And then there are so many really difficult things happening for some people, for healthcare providers who are on the front line, for people who are dying and their families, people who are out of work, even if our own lives might feel pretty protected, we don't live in a society that offers much protection to many, many, many people. So I guess as I'm continuing to talk, I want to bring in awareness too of Native peoples and people of color, and the ways that they are being harder hit by this, that have a lot to do with poverty and racism. Another concern that I'm going to bring in is a concern about women's rights and women's power. And are there going to be some ways that inroads might be made into trying to continue to take power away? So that there are concerns like that are all in the air as well, and part of this week's energies. All right, so even though there's so much going on, and I'm aware of different aspects of it at different levels of consciousness, and it's affecting me in many ways, some of which I'm not aware of, I choose to trust that I'm safer than I feel. I choose to trust that we're all safer than it seems, which means that if we are all really spiritual beings having this experience, then as spiritual beings, we are safe. But that's a very different experience than our personal experience here. And it is important, essential, you might say, to make sure that you are supporting your own sense of safety however you need to do that. Right? And that you don't hear me saying that it's fine if people are, I don't mean, and I want to be really clear that I don't mean that I'm being cavalier about the very scary things people are going through. So even though all this is happening, I commit to doing everything in my power to grow through this experience. I commit to using this experience to help myself grow, to be perhaps, if I so choose, a force of growth and expansion in the world. But at least for me, for my family, for those that I love. Good. And now up to the top of your head. And up here, we've already activated that connection. So let's just here make a commitment to release resistance to healing and growing, even if it means needing to change patterns that don't support our well-being, that kind of sabotage our feeling of empowerment and resilience. A kind of, I commit to doing whatever it takes to grow me, to heal me. And I give thanks to all the energies of pure heart who are here helping me and celebrating me. And being with all of us in this circle. And then your eyebrows. All right, so again, remember about the borrowing benefits, remembering that as you're tapping, you can be focusing on what is most coming up for you, whether it's a sensation in your body, you know, a tension, a tightness, a pain, a discomfort, whether it's emotion, whether it's situational. There's maybe a very difficult situation that you feel a lot of stress when you're in. Focusing on that, on the feeling of being in that situation. If it is more fears of what's happening, what's really happening. Excuse me. I'm really getting warm. Of where, you know, what's true, what's real, how do we know? I keep saying this, how do we know what's true and what's real? What's going on behind the scenes that we don't know? Who do we trust? What do we believe? How do we stand centered when all of it is so confusing and we don't know? And mostly people just have opinions. So whatever it is, whatever your focus, start tapping on the eyebrows. So even though I'm feeling all of this on the sides, even though it may be feeling really overwhelming right now because I, Holly, have just mentioned so many things. Everything that I'm feeling, everything that's been difficult this week, above your lips, all the challenges that I've been experiencing this week. All these emotions. We'll go through the emotions in a moment. Just, you know, appreciating myself. Thanking each of ourselves for, you know, the ways we have been going through this, you know, for the ways we've been here for ourselves. Look at how I'm showing up for myself, right? Look at what I'm able to bring to the moment. Not all the time, because sometimes I feel crashed, right? We have that wave, right? And sometimes it feels like it's really hard to do something. Sometimes people are feeling really productive, as we heard. But appreciating ourselves for every time we've forgiven ourselves for being critical. Every time we've recognized that we were being reactive and that what we needed was to sort of help ourselves heal, to intervene on our own behalf, you know, to soothe ourselves or to tap or reassure ourselves. You know, do energy exercises, do mindfulness practice, like looking at what's beautiful, looking at the colors around me, going out and being in nature. You know, there's so many things, making a good choices eating, so many things that we're doing to support ourselves. Sleeping, going to bed earlier. On the sides. All these challenges. We never thought, never dreamed, really, that we'd be living this, right? And that would bring all these kind of challenges that it's bringing up, including the challenges of, you know, family dynamics. You know, we've talked before about how when family is kind of confined together, that's when the rubbing and the friction, you know, inevitably is going to happen. And you know, so at one level, there's a concern about domestic violence and abuse, which of course has been on the rise. But at another level, it's just getting under each other's skin, or, you know, issues that have been there, like becoming sort of more supercharged maybe. But remembering that we can treat these as opportunities to heal. And even the aloneness, right? Even that feeling of not being touched enough, not having enough skin, you know, that skin hunger, skin deprivation. Like even that can be a teacher for us to, it's like a pathway for us to love ourselves more, right? This is a time to go within, you know, unless, you know, I don't think anybody here is, I know nobody here is on the front, well, maybe one person, but most in some ways, but on the front lines, you know, or, you know, many people have the opportunity to go within. And that opportunity to go within is about an opportunity to see, you know, how is it I love myself? How is it it's hard for me to love myself, or hard for me to celebrate myself, or hard for me to feel myself? I can use this time for me to develop all that awareness, all that sensitivity to myself, risk. And as I'm developing that sensitivity to myself, I'm developing greater capacity to be a loving force in the world, right? I'm drawing to myself more loving energy, the more loving I'm being to myself. And I can feel myself, like, as I move into allowance, allowing myself, let's go to the top of your head again, allowing myself to, you know, open up to that space of appreciating myself, of loving myself. And I can feel there's this tension that we're walking around with in our chests, and you might be able to feel that tension just kind of releasing, almost like it's a lock or they're bars or somehow, and they just kind of dissolve. There's a softening. That's what it is. There's a softening happening inside as we give ourselves permission, as we make the choice to be more loving of ourselves and deeply and truly appreciative and honoring ourselves. And the more we do that, the clearer the path, the easier it is to find our way forward, to know the next best thing to do, the next best step to take, no matter what. Eyebrows. So going through the emotions, releasing sadness and sorrow and grief. There is a sadness, there's a loss, there's a missing. There's an emptiness for some people. There's an absence on the sides. Releasing any anger, or not anger, rage and fury, like that intense combination of, I don't like what's happening and I'm powerless to do anything about it in the bigger sphere, right? And I hate that feeling of powerlessness. I hate that feeling that people are suffering. And I can't heal people's suffering. I hate that we're all in this situation. I hate that people are playing with our lives, right? This gallbladder, right? Let's get that out. Underneath your eyes. This is a stomach meridian. And the stomach meridian is generally associated with fear, right? So letting go of whatever the fears are. We talked at the very beginning about the fear of dying, right? This fear of dying, the fear of death, fear of getting sick, fear of people we love getting sick. Have you noticed how, or at least I should say I've noticed, that it seems like the news on my phone, right, that pops up is telling me about people who are dying, like younger people. Like this person just died, doesn't say why. This person just died, doesn't say why. And it's like, are they dying of COVID? Are they dying like, but there's this, like, we're being directed towards death. And that brings up people's fears, the deep fears. There's also, anxiety, there's panic. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. I feel stuck. That's not necessarily fear, but it's like I feel like I can't move forward. And it scares me that I'm not able to move forward, or it scares me because I don't know how to move forward. It scares me because I don't know what's happening. I don't like what's happening. I don't like how people are reacting. People's reactions are frightening me. All the political stuff is frightening and uncomfortable. The world stage is uncomfortable and frightening. And I worry about all of us. I worry about all of us. Are we going to be okay? What's life going to be like? How long is it going to be like this? What are we going to be facing? All these different fears. Fears about money, fears about job, fears about stability. Some people are going along doing what they're doing, thinking they're doing fine, and then all of a sudden, they're blowing up at people, or they're getting really angry, or they just find themselves being absolutely impatient. Like, what's happening to me? Why am I why am I reacting like this? Another kind of fear. It's like, well, no, that's kind of normal given that we're dealing with much more than we're aware of. And if we're not really putting a lot of attention into self-care, that's going to happen more. Variations on that theme. And then above your lips. This point's usually about embarrassment. And there could be embarrassment about, I don't know, different kinds of things. Speaking up, wearing a mask, I don't know. I don't think embarrassment is a huge issue right now, although I could be just blocking on something. But I usually am highlighting nervousness, self-consciousness here, awkwardness. So if any of those things are coming up. Below your lips, this is about shame and humiliation. I think too, there's something here in both of these places, I'm going to say, maybe a number of these places, about people being afraid to speak their truth. I think many people, because things are so polarized, so you might notice me, I'm jumping now between different points, so I'm back up to the under the eyes, that I think many people are afraid to speak what is going on inside of them because they're afraid of other people's reactions, because people have become so vitriolic, right? So there's the attacking energy that's been on the rise is even stronger now. And so instead of many people having the capacity to be able to sit and hear each other across differences, the polarization is even more powerful, and there's tremendous fear in that polarization. We might not recognize it, but the more polarized we are, the more fear-based that that attitude, those perceptions that we have are. So letting go of anybody who's got concerns about what other people think or how they appear to other people. You know, what's somebody going to say if I let my, well, with somebody's phrase, my freak flag fly, you know, if I really let me be me, right? If I open up and I'm more me instead of, you know, my phrase for myself this week has been, I've had some straps around me that keep my behavior a little more reserved. And I want to open up to possibilities, capacities, abilities that are within me that I've kept under wraps. And so, but there is this sense of how are people going to react? Well, what are people going to think? How comfortable are people going to be? Or am I going to make anybody uncomfortable? Like all of that, you know, is all kind of in this area. And now we're tapping at the heart, the high heart and the collarbones and all around. And this is about despair and disappointment, right? Many people are feeling disappointed for all kinds of reasons, hopes they'd had, things that they were working on that now are blocked or stymied somehow. People might be feeling more disappointed in others in their lives. And there's that space of disappointment and despair, hopelessness, this feeling that things are never going to change. Are they ever going to change? Is it always going to be like this? That's kind of in this area, this heavy, dreading, ugh. So anybody who's feeling any of that, discouragement, right? I'm really, one of the things that I'm really focused on is trying to help people who want to step into courage, right? Courage is
You know, one definition of courage is to speak all of one's heart with one's mind, that it is being true to our heart, um, and you know, throwing off the ways we've hidden ourselves is one way of stepping into more courage. So discouragement, the discouragement sometimes we feel in ourselves for not taking advantage of situations or opportunities, or for feeling like I should be a lot further along than I am right now, right? On the sides. And here I really, this is spleen, you know, spleen, we do a lot of processing of our food. It's really, you know, of course it's connected with digestion. So it's kind of like digesting. And do we digest with emotion, or do we digest with judgment? So it's a point that has to do with guilt. And I also associate judgment with this. So judgment and blame, you know, blaming myself. I just gave you an example of that. Blaming others, gave you an example of that too. Being in that level of experiencing life where we're blaming ourselves, or we're blaming others. And that's very deeply programmed into us. I think for almost all of us, it takes a tremendous amount of practice to begin to show up with empathy, right? Not blame, not judgment, not guilt. And of course, the more we do that, the more balanced and strong and centered we're able to move through the storm, right? Like we are the quiet strength that moves through the storm. And then your wrists. And here is, this is more about anger. It's associated, the wrists are combining all these meridian points on the tips of the fingers. So we have the heart meridian. See if this is the heart meridian is the baby finger, triple warmer is the ring finger, circulation sex meridian is the middle finger, the index finger, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the index finger. The thumb, I think, is lung, small intestine, and large intestine. But anyway, but altogether, they're generally thought to be about anger and frustration, resentment, right? So any anger, and that's different than rage, right? I talk about rage and fury up here. Anger is, you know, we don't have to be yelling and screaming and exploding to be experiencing anger. Anger is a message that says we've been violated, right? Our personal space, our respect, and honoring us, there's been a violation. And the correct energetic response to that is this anger that comes up, because it's empowering and it helps us stand our ground. But the more we use anger to blame, the less strength we're able to, you know, deep strength we're able to develop. So we need to free the anger from the blame to be able then to absorb the, you know, like in video games where you know, you hit the chest and all these coins, golden coins come up and they just get absorbed into your account. You know, it's like, when we can do that with our anger, we're absorbing all that energy, that life-sustaining, nurturing, affirming, strengthening energy into our field. Okay, back up to the top, feeling our nervous system being calmer and quieter, finding that peace within and that relief and release. Noticing how we're breathing more deeply, more slowly. Our heart rate's gone down. Our breaths have lengthened.
We're not breathing as many breaths per minute. Eyebrows, our muscles are relaxing. Our eyes are relaxing. And our ears. On the sides of your eyes. And we're also, by doing all this tapping, stimulating the ventral vagal nerve. The ventral vagal is what is referred to as part of this social engagement system. So we're more present. We relax the muscles around our eyes and around our ears. We're actually activating this nerve that goes around our heart, comes up the side of our neck, around our ears, and comes up to just above our eyes. And we're activating those nerves and relaxing the fight or flight so the eyes can relax, the muscles of the eyes can relax. And they don't push out, scanning for threat, just relax. And the ears, as we're tapping on the side of the eyes, we're very close to the ears and the temples there. And the ears, relaxing the muscles of the middle ear. So our ears relax. And both of those things help the limbic system, that fight or flight system, to relax. Under your eyes. Again, helping the eyes to relax. Let go. Above your lips, feeling yourself, feeling so much more centered and calm and balanced and peaceful. Below your lips, feeling the goodness of your true being, the truth of yourself rising from deep within you. Gathering from within and from beyond the energy of the knowing of your own worth. Our worth doesn't come from what other people think of us. Our worth comes from our humanity. It comes from within us. We reclaim, we build, we grow our own sense of our worth, and that grounds us and strengthens us so that we can become the light that we want to be, that is in our true nature to become. Collarbones. Just an awareness of our hearts. The four-chambered heart, right? So our hearts can all at once be peaceful. It can be open. It can be strong. And they can be clear. Like true north. We know our true north from our heart. On the sides. Loving and supporting ourselves from deep within. Feeling or imagining or intending a strong digestive system that supports our well-being and our immunity and our resilience. Wrists. Feeling the energies flow within and around us. Opening ourselves up to let light pour in everywhere, withholding no part of ourselves from the light. Feeling that light fill us up. Feeling ourselves immersed in the divine, immersed in love and immersed in light, and empowered and emboldened and encouraged by universal light, unconditional love. By your own spirit. It shines within you. And bring your hands down. And with your eyes closed, give yourself a few moments to check in and see where you are now. Giving yourself thanks for bringing yourself to this practice, for giving yourself the gift of these practices, this healing, this connection with other people who are also opening themselves up to doing healing at this level and growth. Gratitude for all the pure-hearted energy that has been here supporting us and supports us always. Marking this in the memory of your bones, of your cells. Changing your DNA so that the blueprint of it replicates with greater peace, greater self-love, self-worth, greater capacity to notice what's beautiful, what's profound, what's wondrous. To notice the light in all life, everywhere. And to know that you are now more. You're more balanced. You're healthier. And from this moment forward, every step you take from a stronger, more empowered place within you. That's part of the cumulative effect of doing this practice and growing yourself. So I wish all of you weeks of growth and conscious awareness where you find yourself more able to use the challenging moments as a practice, remembering that the great opportunity to practice and to really transform
yourselves in ways that mean everything to you. And I will see many of you next week. And I wish all of you all the best and all that's good. Thanks.